What's up, my dudes? In this video I'm going to teach you the beginner witchcraft tools that I believe all beginners should be working with whenever they first start their practice. Now this is going to be from my perspective and also my type of practice that I go with. It's a bit of eclectic and a bit of hoodoo and mix in with it. If you like to know the ins and outs of my actual practice, I'll be doing a video all about that. But this is just going to be the very basics that I think you should be doing whenever you are starting any type of witchcraft. Now this is also going to cover multiple aspects of witchcraft, so there will be different alterations depending on your specific practice. Also, stick towards the end. I'm going to be giving a few different examples of extra things that you can add to this. Make sure you stay till the end to watch that, and I'll get right into it. So the first thing I suggest all witches start with, or just make in general, is an altar cloth. Now this is one that I made. It has dual-sided fabric, and also it has a hole in one of these sides where I can slip in a heat-resistant piece of plastic. What that'll basically do is just prevent the heat from transferring all the way through. I haven't been worried about this fabric at all burning. I've burned pretty much thousands of hours worth of candles onto this, and it's still good, so I'm not really worried about it. Also, if you are going to be creating something yourself like this, while you're making it, like in the stitching of everything, if you want to see how I made this, you can see what I mean. But in the stitching, you can add different effects to this if you want to have maybe a certain altar cloth for a certain season, or if you want to have one for certain workings. Maybe you want to have one for baneful workings, maybe you have one for healing or any sort of manifestations. You can have different fabrics depending on what you're focusing on for that altar cloth. So the next thing I suggest every beginner use is any sort of burn dish. Now this is just a simple baking dish that I used when I was at a restaurant. Fun fact, if you don't know this, if you tip your waiter over $100, you're allowed to steal any sort of dish that you want. So if you just go to any sort of place, tip them $100, steal whatever dish you want, and you'll be fine. But the next thing, if you don't really have that sort of dish and maybe you want to use something else, they also sell, I don't have it with me, but it's a candle burner at Dollar Tree. It has a scoop at the base so the air can flow through it, and also one that doesn't sit flat onto something, like I believe they have like a glass one. Don't use those if you're going to be burning candles on them because they will crack. But if you are going to be using the flat dish, make sure it has the air underneath so it doesn't get too hot on the bottom. So the next thing that I would suggest beginner witches use are any sort of candles. Now these are the very basic ones that you can get at Dollar Tree. These are the ones that you pretty much start with. There's tea light candles. You have a little metal dish that you can collect the wax in. If you want to, you can place different things underneath it, and then you can have your effects boosted that way. And then you can move up to these more pillar shaped candles. These are more expensive. This one I believe was like a whole $2, and these came in like a pack of 3. But the more wax you have, the more intentions you can put into it, the more you can do to it, that sort of thing. But these are the more, like, I wouldn't say more advanced because they're candles. You can use them however you please. But the larger the candle, usually the more energy you can put into it and the more ingredients you can anoint into it or just place into the candle itself. And the next thing I would suggest for beginner witches is any sort of herbs. I keep mine in these, I don't remember the brand, but I just keep them in these type of jars because they're easily able to be stacked into something if you have a large amount. But any sort of herbs or any sort of spices that you can use that you can either collect from either your kitchen or you can go out and you can harvest them, just however you see fit for collecting any sort of herbs or spices. They'll really help you in your practice, and also if you are someone that likes to add different effects into your everyday life, some herbs you can use for either topical reasons or if you want any hygiene things. Some of them you can use for health reasons, some of them you can use for mental reasons. Herbs have a lot of different properties depending on the specific one, and the more advanced not really advanced, but the more knowledge of herbs you have, the better your overall spells would be, and also the better your health would be in general, because they do have multiple different benefits to you regardless of whatever you're doing for your spells. So another thing that I would suggest that beginners use in their practice is any sort of colored pens and petition papers. Now specifically petition papers, because I believe if you are going to focus your energy on a certain spell that takes maybe more than an hour to do, or maybe it's maxing out at an hour, or maybe it's just something long for you and you want to really dedicate yourself to whatever you're doing, creating a petition and being very clear on your intentions and the exact steps you're going to take to get your outcome is a lot better than trying to use a specific color, just write it on a bay leaf and then do it that way. You can also use bay leaves if you don't want to use paper. Maybe you have a paper allergy, or maybe you just can't use a certain type of paper. You can just use a bay leaf, and if you want to, you can also just use any sort of dry leaves. Bay leaves tend to be the best because they also have different properties that can help you, but you can just write on a leaf if you don't want to use paper. And next up is colored lighters. Now this is really up for debate for some reason, but using color magic is color magic. I don't know why that's a debate, but using a certain color, so say if you want any sort of love or courage or anything like that, or strength, then you can use red. If you want more of a green or wealth or growth, then you can use green. Blue is for pigs that should die, but you can use it for other things. But you can use lighters for, depending on what spell you're doing, you can use a certain lighter for that. Before I get into the final different things that I would suggest for beginner witches, I just want to give a shout out to all the people that have subscribed to me so far, everyone that has just helped me on my journey so far. Within the last time I made like a face-to-face video, I think I've grown like 200% in like most of my general things that I was going for, and that's good. It's not my goal necessarily, but it is something that is improved and something that I intentionally set forward, and I'm glad to see that all of that is actually happening and everyone has been enjoying it. I'm still trying to get into the swing of actually making videos and like doing it on a consistent basis and not just having these spell demonstrations. Like, people have been suggesting I make a face-to-face video and also just more of an in-depth video, but I haven't really had the energy to, but doing it now, and I just want to say thank you to everyone that has been supporting me so far. But yeah, let's get into the extra things that you can use if you're a bit more advanced in your practice, or if you just want to add a bit more custom effect into your practice.